All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome. This is my first live stream, so bear with me. I'm figuring things out. Um, there we go. I need to learn that there's a delay in the stream. Okay. So welcome. So my intent with this is to go through this past week's uh, daily exercises over on Bug Forge. The reason I wanted to start doing this live stream was uh, doing a standalone edited video for every daily lab was starting to uh, kind of kick my butt just a little bit. So I did want to still go through and show the daily labs, um, just in case there were people that joined halfway through the week or people who just joined. I wanted to get an opportunity to see the labs. Uh, the other reason that I feel like there's less need for a standalone daily video, at least for me. We've had so many people doing really, really outstanding walkthroughs, write ups, video walkthroughs, um, and posting those in the help and solutions channels in our Discord over on the Bugforge Discord. Um, that it's really, really awesome to see that people have been doing a really fantastic job with that. So um, I think new people have more than enough to get started and help solve the labs. But I still do want to do this. I'm still going to be doing a standalone weekly walkthrough video for the weekly challenge lab. Um, but for right now, I'll do this, see how it goes. If I need to adjust, I'll adjust. I'm really just figuring out what makes sense and kind of the best way to do this stuff. So, um, hey, Fed, how's it going? Uh, cool. So let's jump in, I guess. So I'll jump over here to uh, my labs. So the first one for this week was Cheesy Does It. And this was a broken logic lab. So let me come up here, start this. I don't have an account, so I'll get one registered. Super secure password. 555 1234 and 123 Main Street. Okay, so we've got a pizza ordering application. Um, you can go through, you can build your own pizza. You can view previous orders. I haven't ordered anything yet. Ignore the hissing in the background. My dog is chasing one of my cats around and she doesn't like it. Um, okay, so let's just go ahead and add pizza to our cart and we'll go through the checkout flow and just see what it looks like. So I can go to checkout, test note, place my order. Okay, so now we've got an order placed. Let's go over to Kaido and just see what this looks like. So here's the post request for orders. And if we scroll down here, let me make this a little bit bigger. If we scroll down here, actually, let me move my head so that I'm out of the way here. Move myself over here. So if we look down here, we see that the unit price and the total price is sent as a controllable value in the post request. So what I want to do is send that over to the replay. Send the base value so we can resend the same thing. Now I just want to try changing this to 0 and just see if that complains about it. It doesn't. So I'm gonna come back over here and I want to look at my orders. So yeah, you can see that the order that we just sent with the 0 value is submitted. We got it. And if we view that order, we get the flag. So this is a good example of a broken logic. Everything's working the way it's supposed to, but there was a bad assumption about how users would interact with the application, right? There was some sort of an assumption that users wouldn't go in and change the value, or that the application would just automatically trust what values were provided without any additional checking. And that's what allows us to essentially get a pizza for free. So that was a good example of that. So let's close out of this. We'll stop that lab. Let me check chat here real quick. Okay, I think I've got, yep, I've got one viewer. Hey, how's it going, Fed? So the next lab was Tanuki. Let me go down here and find that. Start this up. With that. Goes out of this. Stop. Yep. All right. Same thing here. Go ahead and register an account. All right. So this one is a flashcard app for anyone who hasn't already seen this at any point in the past. One moment here. Let me fix my light. Oh well. All right. It doesn't seem to be working, but that's all right. Cool. So this is a flashcard app. It looks like we have the ability to study. We can look at our decks. We can browse different decks. We can add new decks to the dashboard. We have a stats page. So let's see if we go through our decks. Looks like it's just a standard app. It doesn't seem to have too much functionality here. We can't really control anything. Really, we only have the option to just go through the flashcards like normal. Okay, so we go back to the dashboard. If we come back over to our proxy and look at our requests here. We see that there's an interesting request here to this API stats, and then it looks like this is probably a user ID right here. So let me send that over to the replay. Resend this. And anytime I see anything that looks like it's using any kind of ID value, I'm just going to try to increment it or decrement it and just see if I can access other user IDs. And in this case, that's the solution. So this is an insecure direct object reference. Referencing or accessing the resource, the stats for the user by the user ID, and it's using just a simple integer for the user ID, so it's very easy to just increment or decrement that user ID to try to access um, data belonging to other users, and there's no additional access control checks on that. So we get the flag for that one. Come over here, stop the lab. And then for Wednesday was copy pasta. Check. Okay. Um, sorry, just checking Discord, make sure that I was look like I'm still streaming on Discord. So cool. Oh, hey, Mary Ellen, how are you? No, the default in Kaido is not that everything's purple. It's I'm using PwnFox. It's a Firefox extension. I like it because you can proxy just the container tab and not the entire browser. So, like with Foxy Proxy, you are essentially proxying uh, the entire browser. But with PwnFox, I can proxy only the tabs. So, like this is the only tab that is uh, proxied and not everything else. Cool. So for those that just jumped in, was there anything you wanted me to go back over? I've only done the first two labs so far, so I'm happy to go back through the um, Monday or Tuesday if you want. I'll hang out for a minute to see if yeah, it's just a Firefox extension. Um, that so if you just go into the um, add-on store in Firefox and just search PwnFox, it'll come up. Cool. So I'll just go forward for now, and then okay, cool. I'll just go forward for now. If anybody jumps in from here on, if you want me to go back through everything, um, just let me know. I'll do my best to try to check the chat periodically, and I'm happy to go back through um, any of the days that I've already gone over. So okay, we're on copy pasta. Let me see, copy pasta. Yep, here we go. Close out of this. So yeah, I just go to open in container tab. Go back to blue. One thing that I've found with Kaido and PwnFox is that you probably have to go in and tweak the colors because sometimes um, some of the colors make it really difficult to see because it doesn't automatically the CSS doesn't automatically adjust so that there's a black writing on a light background. So you might end up with a yellow container tab and white writing on it. So it makes it really difficult to see. So I found that purple and blue work really well though. So I typically tend to stick with those personal preference. Tester one. Create my account. Okay, so this is the snippet app. So we have our dashboard with our snippets. We have the ability to see all of the public snippets. Um, we can search, filter by language. So if we create a new snippet, we'll just call it Hello World, and we'll make it public. Print Hello World, and we'll just do console log Hello World and create. So let's see what we can do with the snippet. So we have the option to delete, edit, and view. See if we view, we can add comments. Cool snippet. And we can share it with someone else. So cool. So this lab was a broken access control lab. So what's it's easy to skip over functionality. The first time that I did this version of the lab, I got, I was testing all kinds of different stuff. Like, something's got to work, but I realized I wasn't testing if I was able to delete snippets that belong to other users. So if I come back over here and look at find this request, find the delete request. So API snippets 8. And remember what I was just saying. Anytime I see anything that's being referenced by any kind of ID value, especially if it's just an integer value, um, I'm going to test it for broken access control. And that's exactly what the solution for this lab is. So if I resend this, it should say it doesn't find the snippet because I already deleted it. I can try to increment this and see if there's a snippet 9. It doesn't find a snippet 9, so I can go back down and see if I can delete snippet 7, and I can, and we get the flag. So again, um, I'm just looking at this, and you know, as soon as I see something being referenced by an ID, I'm going to try to tinker with it, especially if it's a delete request or, um, any kind of state changing request. Um, I'll usually test with a second user. In this case, I'm just testing with one user just to show the vulnerability. But in a real test, I would um, create two users, create a snippet with one user, and then try to delete that snippet with my second user. If that makes sense. Um, so, okay, let's come back over here and close out of that. Let's see. We're up to Thursday, which was Sokodu. Uh, Sokodu 3. All right. So open this up. Purple. This one was a little bit tricky. This was a legacy endpoint vulnerability. Sometimes with APIs, if there's a new version of the API, you might want to test and see if you can access previous versions of the API. Um, the access control mechanisms may not be implemented on the previous version. It may be implemented differently, uh, whatever the case may be. So it's worth testing to see if you can access, um, uh, like, say, for example, an admin endpoint. And that's the case with this. In this case, there's actually two vulnerabilities with this one. So I'll show you that in just a second. Hopefully, Kaido cooperates with me on the JWT editor. It's sometimes hit and miss. I love it, but sometimes it's hit and miss. Okay, so this is always the one that I hate showing live because I'm a terrible typer, but um, here we have practice typing session. We can view our statistics, log out. I don't want to do that. So I'll just do a real quick practice. No laughing at my uh, typing. Okay. Well, for whatever reason, that didn't register anything, but that's all right. So I can view stats. So let's look at the at this. Okay, so what's interesting here is um, we see this V2 stats. So most of the labs that we've seen have had API slash whatever. This one has a version, right? So that's interesting. So I'm just going to send that request over to my replay. Um, and before I start messing with that, what I want to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to use this other extension called JS Recon Buddy. And I want to use it to get all of the endpoints and paths from the client side JavaScript. Okay, so what's interesting here is there's an API endpoint here, v2 admin flag. Okay, so this is what I want to target. That's interesting to me. Obviously, in a CTF, anything with flag is interesting. So I'm going to try changing this to API or v2 admin flag and send and see what I get. So I get admin access required. Well, what if we try v1 admin access required? Okay, so if I look at my JWT here and see I've got this role. So what I want to do is I'm going to try to tamper with this JWT here. I'm going to send this to the editor. And I'm just going to try to update this. One of the checks that you always want to do with a JSON Web Token is just to see if the server will accept it um, with a modified payload and the same signature. So if it's not validating the signature, then it'll accept whatever uh, claims you've made in the payload. So okay, token updated, signature is invalid. So what that's saying is that I've changed the payload, so the signature is no longer valid. But if the server isn't validating the signature, then this should still work. So let's try this. I'll just copy that and come back over here to replay. And I'll try pasting this in and see. So what we're going to find is this doesn't actually work. So it's still telling me admin access is required. So if I come back, let me find, where was I at here? So if I come back here and we have this other ID value that we can try tampering with. So let me do that. I don't know for certain what user IDs go with what users, but one is as good a place as any to start. So I've updated the token again. It's still saying the signature is invalid, but if I copy this back over here and come back to replay, now when I paste this in, it should work. And we get the flag. So this one had uh, kind of vulnerabilities. One, um, it's using a legacy endpoint. Let me. So if I use version 2 here, it's telling me it's an invalid token. So on version 2, it is validating the signature and saying this token is invalid. But if I go to version 1, then I'm able to access the endpoint and get the flag. So two kind of vulnerabilities. Was a little bit tricky. I liked it. It was a little bit different than some of the other labs that we've we've had. So I thought that was a lot of fun. Let me see. Let me check here. Yeah, the JS Recon Buddy has more functionality than the bookmarklet that I had shared. The bookmarklet uh, pulls out the endpoints. Um, the JS Recon Buddy, I'll just show that. If I analyze the full page, it does show potential DOM XSS syncs. It shows interesting parameters, source maps if it's available, external scripts. So it does the same thing in that it pulls out the endpoints and paths, but it does it better, and it gives you all this other stuff too. So I've kind of started using that a little bit more. I still have the find endpoints bookmarklet here, um, which shows me this. So this is the one that I had modified to add the copy endpoints functionality, but um, it doesn't hurt to have both of them. But I've kind of found that the JS Recon Buddy um, has some more features, and it generally does what this does a little bit better. So I mean, either way, you kind of get to the same place. So let me close out of this, and that brings us up to today. So today was Shady Oaks. Let me stop that. Uh, Shady Oaks 01. All right, so this one was interesting because um, it's very, very straightforward, but it's something that is really, I think, commonly missed or easy to overlook. Let me just get an account registered here. Okay, so the reason that this is I think easy to overlook is there's quite a bit of functionality, right? There's trading. We can buy, sell stocks. We can look at our portfolio. We can exchange money. There's some things here to test. We can look at history. We can try modifying our profile information and see if there's anything we can tamper with or any access control issues, which there is. But if you look at the endpoints and you see there's an admin endpoint, well, what if we just try to access that directly? So this is just an unprotected admin. endpoint, which depending on the application, um, whatever is or whatever functionality exists on the admin endpoint, we're able to access it without any kind of authorization or with any kind of admin credentials or anything like that. um, we could do some bad things. Here in this case, we have the ability to influence the stock trends, to influence price movements, which um, could potentially be bad. It's definitely less than ideal, but so that was today's lab. Um, yeah, I know it's like I said, it's difficult to, well, not difficult. It's easy to overlook. Um, and it's something that's so simple that you probably don't expect it to work right away, but I mean, it happens. For whatever reason, it it happens. Yeah, you kind of go, wait, what? is this is this real? And um, I've seen in the wild, I've seen unprotected functionality where you're just looking at it and going, oh my god, there's this, um, yeah, they I think most of the time something like admin probably would be protected, but um, there might be some other endpoints that yeah. So like admin profile, admin details, admin, whatever, um, might not be implemented the same way. So it's definitely worth checking. But um, so yeah, that pretty much catches us up. My original plan was to through the weekly labs and or the daily labs and the weekly lab. I've already got a standalone video for the weekly lab out, so I'll link that in this description. This should be available, I think, sometime tomorrow, for anybody who wasn't able to make the live. But yeah, like I said, I'm trying to figure out what works best for these. Um, if you like the format, if you don't like the format, let me know. I'm happy to change, do something different. Um, I'm like I said, I'm really just trying to figure out kind of what works, what makes the most sense. Um, I don't want to waste people's time, and I don't want to, just be jabbering on if it's not useful for anybody. So please let me know. Does anybody have any questions or anything you want me to go back through before I end the stream? Waiting just a moment for the delay. Awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate everybody who was able to join. If you weren't able to join, this should be up tomorrow. Like I said, I really appreciate it. I'm having a lot of fun with these labs. I hope you are as well. So let's keep going with it and keep making the platform better. I think there's a lot of value in just doing the daily labs. Really just getting reps in and kind of really developing those pattern recognition skills. It's really been helping me a lot. Like I've said, my background hasn't been in web app testing, so um, it's really been helping me to kind of be able to identify these things a lot quicker. Um, yeah, there's a delay. there's a delay between Discord and YouTube. I think Discord is in real time, and there's a delay on YouTube. I'm not entirely sure how to solve that. It's something I probably just need to tinker with a setting somewhere in YouTube. I'm not sure, but I'll try to get that resolved for next week so it's a little less jarring, maybe. Um, but yeah, hey, I really appreciate it, everyone. I'm gonna cut the stream here, but I hope you all have a good weekend and looking forward to the next weekly lab that comes out. And we'll jump in and we'll solve that one together. All right. Hey, take care, everyone.